My name is Sebastian Perouse. I'm the director of the Central Asia program at George Washington University. And it is my pleasure to welcome you all today to this panel's discussion on addressing Central Asia's water crisis, challenges, and pathways to regional cooperation. This is, of course, an issue of critical importance, not only for the countries of Central Asia, but for the stability and for the sustainability of the region as a whole. Central Asia is uniquely dependent on its transboundary rivers, particularly the Darya and Darya, which weaves through multiple national borders and which sustain millions of lives, economies, and ecosystems. But today, these shared water resources face unprecedented pressures and population growth, rapid urbanization, and the intensification of agriculture and industry have significantly increased water demand. And at the same time, climate change is exacerbating water scarcity through a reduced glacial runoff, erratic weather patterns, and rising temperatures. So all these threats require immediate coordinated responses. Historically, while in Central Asia has been as much a unified force as it has been a source of tension. And since the break of the Soviet Union, regional cooperation over water has been sporadic. It has been constrained by some competing national priorities. Yet the interconnectedness of the region's hydrological systems means that no country can effectively address its water challenges in isolation. So collaborative management is not a choice, it's certainly a necessity. So today we have three experts to examine the complex dynamics of water resource management in the region. They will also highlight, I guess, the role of diplomacy in fostering trust and collaboration among Central Asian states. But before starting, first, I would like to thank Mrs. Saltana Jakubayeva and Ms. Altingul Utibayeva, the Economic Research Institute and Al-Farabi National University, who proposed and organized this seminar. So a huge thank you for their work and their cooperation with the Central Asia program. We really appreciate. And first of all, now I'm extremely delighted to have with us today on this panel His Excellency Ambassador Yerjan Elshikbayev, who is Ambassador of the Republic of Kazakhstan to the United States of America. Ambassador Elshikbayev has very kindly agreed to give some introductory remarks today. Prior to his appointment as the ambassador to the United States, Ambassador Elshikbayev served as Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Kazakhstan, between 2013 and 2021. Before becoming Deputy Minister, he held the position of Deputy Head of the Prime Minister Office, Official Representative of the Government of Kazakhstan. And in 2012 and 2013, Ambassador Elshikbayev served as Chief of the Foreign Policy Center of the Presidential Administration of Kazakhstan. So, Mr. Ambassador, it's an honor to have you with us today. Thank you very much, and the floor is yours.
Dear panelists, everyone, good morning to those who are here in the United States, and good evening to my colleagues, compatriots and brothers and sisters in Central Asia. Let me just start by thanking the G.W. Elliott School of International Affairs, the Economic Research Institute, and my alma mater, the Al-Farabi Kazakh National University, for bringing us together for this very important event. Central Asia is undergoing a renaissance, marked by a rapid development, growing economic opportunities, and strengthened regional ties, as reflected in regular consultative meetings of heads of Central Asia. However, as the largest landlocked region in the world, Central Asia faces unique water challenges compounded by their transboundary nature and requiring equitable solutions among neighboring countries. Of course, this includes shrinking ecosystems like Aral and Caspian Seas, the issues affecting the major water flows of Darya and Darya rivers, worsening climate impacts like drought and extreme weather, growing population, increased agricultural demands, and many other factors. So I'm particularly thankful for this very timely panel to discuss and try to contribute to finding solutions to this pressing issue. And all the Central Asian nations have recognized the urgency of this matter of addressing the water crisis. And as a downstream country, Kazakhstan is in particular has been a driving force to promoting regional collaboration to addressing these issues. So Kazakhstan is presiding currently at International Fund for Saving the RLC. We started last year, and our presidency, 3-year presidency, will last up until 2026. And we are focusing on environmental recovery and regional cooperation. A major success story is restoring, of course, the northern part of the RLC with the construction of Kokoral Dam in partnership with the World Bank. And at the 6th consultative meeting this past August 9-10 in Astana, President Tokayev has also called for a new consolidated water policy emphasizing equitable and fair water use, and proposed development of a water and energy consortium among Central Asian countries. We have a string of events recently. So this consultative meeting of heads of states of Central Asia. Then we have, we just recently had a COP29 in Baku with Kazakhstan being represented at the head of state level. So one of the main outcomes for us was a landmark agreement signed with Islamic Development Bank to launch the climate resilient water resources development project. And it's a 1.3 billion initiative aiming to enhancing the Kazakhstan's water infrastructure and bolstering climate resilience. 2 days ago, President Tokayev addressed the One Water Summit in Riyadh, which is co-organized by Kazakhstan, France, and the World Bank, where my president reaffirmed Kazakhstan's firm commitment to water security by, well, stressing several important points. First, universal access, commitment to the freshwater challenge for clean water access worldwide, supporting targeted investments in climate resilience water infrastructure. Thirdly, protecting resources. And at his speech, at his remarks, President Tokayev proposes global glacier partnership to safeguard vital water sources. The fourth priority was the resilience building, and President Tokayev advocated for disaster risk reduction with early warning systems and water efficient agriculture. And of course, we joined one Water Vision Coalition, and in this capacity, Kazakhstan, with the support of the United Nations, will host the 2026 Regional Climate Conference to tackle the global water crisis and promote integrated water management. And there is also, of course, a moral imperative framing water security as a human right, aligned with the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. So a lot is being done recently, and you see, as you witnessed, there is a political momentum building up in the region. And of course, I can't help mentioning, as a bilateral ambassador, that a lot of work is being done in partnership with the United States. Water security has been a key focus, one of the key focal areas for the C5+1 platform, as highlighted in the Leaders New York Declaration adopted during the New York summit in September 2023. We also appreciate USAID's efforts in Central Asia, including providing meteorological software, training, and scholarships to enhance forecasting of water inflows and outflows. The Central Asia Regional Electricity Market, CAREM initiative, focuses on optimizing the use of water resources across the region, fostering sustainable management and enhancing regional cooperation. So, as you see, a lot is being done, but ultimately solving the water crisis in Central Asia requires comprehensive and inclusive approach. By working together across borders and sectors, we believe we can transform water from a source of contention into a driver of sustainable development and shared prosperity. And let me wrap up my introductory remarks at this positive note, and I wish all participants fruitful discussions and impactful outcomes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ambassador, for your introductory remarks. I mean, listening to you, we cannot emphasize enough, I think, both the urgency of addressing water issue and also the critical importance of regional cooperation. And as you explained so well, Kazakhstan has obviously a big role to play here. So thank you again, Mr. Ambassador. Let's now turn to our speakers. So we have 3 speakers today. As I said, each will have about 10 to 15 minutes to present. Their presentations will be followed by a Q&A session. So please feel free to send your questions in the chat box. So our first speaker is Dr. Surya Turayeva, who is an associate professor at the University of World Economy and Diplomacy in Uzbekistan. Previously, Dr. Turayeva served as a senior lecturer in the Department of Industrial Ecology at the Tashkent Chemical Technological Institute. Dr. Turayeva teaches courses such as green economy, academic writing, ecological diplomacy, and ecological tourism. She has authored over 30 scientific papers focusing on water resource management, environmental safety, and ecological tourism in Uzbekistan. And she also co-authored the 2016 monograph, Land Resources and Food Security of Central Asia and Transcaucasia. And she's also the founder of the UWED Eco Club, which is a youth environmental initiative at the University of World Economy and Diplomacy. So Surya, thank you very much for being with us today, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pirous. Dear participants for this event, I'm very glad for your invitation to participate on this event. Could you share my presentation? Okay. Could you see?
Yeah, it's we see it.
Thank you. And let me present my report on the topic, key aspect of water diplomacy in Central Asia. And currently, the partnership between the countries of Central Asia is actively developing. The issues of water relations and improving social, economic, and environmental well-being are one of the priorities of cooperation between the countries of the region. Covering an area of more than 4 million square kilometers, the region consists of 5 states: Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan. And a drying up of the Aral Sea has led to environmental, social, and political consequences. Recently, water shortage have begun to develop in arid climate conditions. More than 60% of Central Asia arid lands are subject to desertification. Due to ecological crisis of the Aral Sea, the air and moisture circulation system in Central Asia has changed over the past 30 years. There is a decrease in the amount of both winter and summer precipitation and an increase in the aridization process. and the situation is aggravated by increasing climate change. At COP29 in Azerbaijan, participants discussed the need for investment in innovative solutions in water management to ensure an equitable access to water and increase resilience to climate change. Particular attention was paid to water security, which is recognized as a key element of sustainable development. In the context of global climate change, water scarcity is becoming one of the main threats, the food security and ecosystem sustainability. And in the countries of Central Asia, the main rivers and transboundary. After gaining independence, the states of the Amudarya and Sirdarya basins have been building bilateral relations in matters of joint governance of water resources. The interstate reservoirs, hydroelectric complexes built during the Soviet period, Tahtagul, Karakum, Chardarya, Nurek, Charvak reservoirs, operated inclusively in irrigation mode. They assimilated water in the autumn-winter period and realized in the spring-summer. The water and energy complex of the Central Asia republics has a huge potential of 460 billion kilowatt per year, but it is distributed extremely unevenly. Almost 85% of regional water resources are concentrated in Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan. These four republics are located in the formation zone of the Amudarya and Sirdarya runoff and are interested, first of all, in the energy use of resources of mountain rivers Baksh, Pyanj, Zarafshan, Narin, tributaries of the Amudarya and Sirdarya. Irrigation is secondary for them. Kyrgyzstan is the only country whose water resources are formed on its own territory. If we talk about Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan, then almost 19% of water resources come from outside. In general, Uzbekistan forms slightly more than 10% of the total flow of the rivers of the Aral Sea basin. And if we talk about challenges of water resources in Central Asia region, over the past 50 years, the volume of glaciers has decreased by an average of 30%, and this trend continues. Global warming was lead to a 40% drop in river levels in Central Asia. According to the current annual population growth rate, the region population grows by 1.6% annually. The population in Central Asia is expected to increase, and water consumption will increase. The share of urban population in Central Asia region is growing, and in connection with this, the demand for water is increasing. Agriculture is also is the main consumer of water. And the presence of common water resources in the region that give rise to join us is outburst of high mountains, outburst-prone lakes, water problems, flood, mud flows, risk of destruction of tailing of radioactive and toxic mining waste, and etc. And recently, water is the top 10 among the issues discussed in the meetings of the countries of the Central Asia region, especially about aerial problem, water resources, hydropower, and global water issues, etc. And agreement, if we said about agreement of regional cooperation, way of a declarative nature. It was the Nukus Declaration that defined the water consumption of Central Asia countries. The situation of distribution of water and energy was very difficult. No important documents were signed. The future is predicted in the form of two counter trends: increasing demand and decreasing water resources. And to have skills in water management, we need to see the solution in mobility, water governance, and water diplomacy. One of the tools for an integrated approach to water management among all stakeholders is water diplomacy. Diplomacy is known as an art of conducting international relations through negotiations. Diplomacy is obliged to maintain peace and stability, find and use opportunities and available means to smooth out differences, prevent conflict, prevent bloodshed and human casualties. This is the main task of diplomacy. Diplomacy is not always a status, but always the ability to respond to a crisis situation in a timely and qualified manner. The art of persuasion, not imposition, creation of a system interaction and decision support of regional organization aimed on creating a common understanding of the existing problematic issues and common vision of the solution. And water diplomacy consists from bilateral diplomacy for cooperation with international partners and donors, and cooperation between two countries, and multilateral diplomacy at the global level, global water conventions and initiatives. And we need to create public diplomacy, basin councils, joint regional project. And we need to create a new technologies in diplomacy, implementation of new approaches in scientific research. And diplomacy has evolution in Central Asia region from until 1992 for 2024. And one of the main unique mechanism for annual planning, monitoring, and operation management of river flow is the Interstate Coordination Water Management Commission, with its own management structure and regular meetings. Over the years, the Commission has proven its effectiveness in strengthening cooperation on the political and technical levels in the region. And the International Fund for Saving the RLC was created in 1992 to reduce the environmental crisis and improve the social economic situation in the RLC basin. And on August 24, 2019, the summit of the heads of Fund of RLC founding states was held in Turkmenistan, which was last held in 2009 before this meeting. And now our countries, our leaders of our country, Central Asia countries, we are successfully solving about cooperation, about water cooperation. For example, 2021 was an action program for assistance to countries on the RLC basin. 2022 in the city of Cholpon-Ata, the president of Kyrgyz Republic, Sadir Japarov, notes that Kyrgyzstan is in favor of expanding cooperation in the hydropower sector in order to increase the self-sufficiency and security of Central Asia countries. In this regard, he welcomed the investment participation of Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan in Kyrgyzstan's hydropower projects. Such initiatives were announced as cooperation hydropower, the project for the construction of Kambarata hydroelectric power station in Kyrgyzstan, the joint creation of a project office of the Central Asian countries for environmental protection, and the implementation of a coordinated policy on climate change. Just a few days ago, mutual obligations of the parties to manage the Andijan reservoir were signed. In 2023, a meeting of heads of state was held in the city of Dushanbe, simultaneously with the founder of the International Fund for Saving the Aral Sea. And recently, Uzbekistan cooperation in the field of water management has also intensified with over other Central Asia countries, Kyrgyz Republic and Republic of Tajikistan. A number of intergovernmental agreements have been signed with Kyrgyzstan on the interstate use of Orto Tokoy Kasansay Reservoir, and with Tajikistan on cooperation ensuring the operation of the Farhat Dam. And agreement was of Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Kyrgyzstan between Darya water and energy resources was signed recently. Okay, and Turkmenistan, in particular in 2021, a joint intergovernmental commission on water management issues was established between the Republic of Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan, and its first meeting was successfully held. Intergovernmental agreement on the reconstruction of the Sultan Sanjar Dam of the Tuyamuyun hydroelectric complex was signed. Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, and Turkmenistan are parties to the Helsinki Convention, the Convention of the Protection and Use of Transboundary Watercourses and International Lakes Water Conventions, is a unique international legal instrument and intergovernmental platform, the purpose of which is to ensure the sustainable use of transboundary water resources by promoting cooperation. The Republic of Uzbekistan was the first of Central Asia countries to join the conventions and on the protection and use of transboundary water resources and other convention international lakes in 27 in 2014. In the development of water diplomacy in regions, management in region, a major role is given the water diplomacy as a tool for mutually beneficial cooperation between the Central Asia countries. They requires technical solution, building capacity, and joint investment for management efficiency improvement, room for advancing regional integration, cooperation, agenda beyond energy, trade, beyond water, energy, trade, transit, security, and stability, strengthening the role of the regional organization for resource management, cooperation with international partners and donors, development of multilateral diplomacy on the global level, public diplomatic interaction, basin councils and councils of river cooperation, introduction of new technologies of public diplomacy, promotion of science-based dialogue and interaction for persuasion and achievement of common understanding. Also, for the development of water diplomacy, it is necessary to strengthen the role of education and knowledge about water resources in order to ensure better maintenance and management of river basins, as well as introduction of new approach and science research for action. However, all these initiatives and transboundary organization imply and require political will. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Turayeva. Let's turn now to our second speaker, Dr. Gulnara Baykushikova, who is the head of the Department of International Relations and World Economy at Al-Farabi Kazakh National University. Dr. Baykushikova's primary research interests include Kazakhstan's foreign policy, Central Asian studies, environmental issues, climate diplomacy, water management, and education for sustainable development. She has authored more than 60 scientific publications, and she contributed to 3 book chapters. And a key focus of her research is water resource management in Central Asia, where she examines the geopolitical and social economic dimensions of water usage, as well as the impact of climate change on the region. So, Dr. Baykushikova, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, good evening. Thank you, Professor Sebastian Peruz. Let me thank the Central Asia program of Elite School of International Affairs for organizing this event. Greeting to all participants. Thank you, Mr. Ambassador Erjan Ashpayev, for your participation and your support. Let me, I will share my screen, sorry. My topic is challenges of regional water cooperation in Central Asia. Central Asia is a region endowed with unique natural resources, and it faces complex ecological, social, and political challenges too. Water as a key resource plays a central role in the lives of the population and as the economies of the countries in the region. Just 2 days ago, in one water summit, our president speaking noted that water security is a basis for sustainable development, economic progress, and environmental protection. Central Asia is already experiencing tensions among states related to the distribution of water resources. Analyzing the causes of these conflicts and developing strategies for their prevention requires a deep understanding of political dynamic and historical context. Exploring opportunities for joint water resources management can help identify pathways for dispute resolution and the creation of effective cooperation mechanisms, thereby contributing to regional stability. At the same time, the water crisis in the region is exacerbated by several factors. Firstly, it is ineffective water resources management. The lack of an integrated approach to water resource management and sufficient coordination among regional states and outdated infrastructure worsen issues related to water distribution and usage. Second is population growth. At the end of the last century, Central Asia had a population of about 25 million. Today, this number has reached 78 million, and the projection indicated that it will exceed 100 million by 2050. This population increase leads to a higher demand for water, placing additional pressures on already strained water resources and negatively impacting water quality and access, including access to drinking water. Next factor is climate change and rising temperature in the region. Over the past few decades, the average temperature in Central Asia has increased by 1.6 grados. The consequence of these changes range from glacial melting, which leads to reduced runoff, to alteration in river flow regimes, including those of transborder rivers such as Amu Darya and Sardaya. Climate change causes instability in both the quantity and timing of precipitation, complicating the forecasting and planning of water resources. Climatologists note that extreme and generally adverse phenomena that used to occur once every 30 or 50 years are becoming significantly more frequent. They are already happening more often. This includes anomalous heat waves, changing in precipitation patterns, droughts, and floods. These events will increase not drastically, but approximately by 1.5 times. Moreover, there will be more instances where typical amounts of precipitation fall not over days, but in just a couple of hours or even within 20 minutes. These changes have serious negative implications for the region. Next factors, the intensive use of water in agriculture for irrigation is leading to the depletion of river system and a decline in groundwater levels. Over 80% of water is consumed for irrigation, with 40% of this volume lost annually during water delivery and directly in the fields. Next factor is the construction of the Koshtepe Canal in northern Afghanistan raises serious concerns. Once completed a project for 2028, this canal is expected to divert 25% of the Amu Darya's runoff. Consequently, downstream countries, including Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and partly Kazakhstan, will face even greater water challenges. Unfortunately, to this day, the country of Central Asia have been unable to establish an effective unified system for managing water resources. This failure has led to ongoing disputes and tensions in intergovernmental relations, resulting in various social, economic, and environmental threats. These contradictions will be exacerbated by the impacts of climate change, which affect the political, economic, and social development of individual countries differently. Without significant changes in the policy of Central Asian states and their multilateral interaction involving Afghanistan, the countries of the region will struggle to mitigate the escalating situation. The process of regional water resources management in Central Asia has undergone various phases over time. It has evolved from initial formalized regional cooperation to a stage of resource nationalism characterized by more unilateral or at best bilateral and informal collaboration. Numerous agreements have been signed. Efforts to establish an effective system for managing water resources have been undertaken at both the regional and bilateral levels. Some of these agreements were legally binding, while others were merely political in nature. The most significant agreements were signed in 1992 in Almaty, 1993 in Kızılorda, and 1999 in Ashgabat. The Interstate Water Coordination Commission and the International Fund for Saving the Aral Sea were established. However, despite these multilateral agreements, the situation regarding water resource utilization has not undergone significant change, and these regional agreements have not yielded the expected results. Subsequently, a period of intense political tension emerged, which was balanced by informal and technical cooperation. From 2007 to mid-2016, there was a resurgence of large-scale hydropower projects accompanied by genuine political tensions, which was counterbalanced by informal and technical collaboration. And in recent years, there has been a shift in the policies of Central Asian countries regarding water and energy management, indicating a growing interest in jointly addressing water resources issues at both bilateral and multilateral levels. Positive changes are facilitating the development of a new regional compromise for the long term. From 2017, this period, pragmatic and effective solution, complex process of negotiations. In this period, for instance, there are positive events For instance, creation of joint companies, joint projects. In 2024, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Uzbekistan signed an interagency agreement to prepare for the construction and operation of the Kambarata 1 hydroelectric plant on the Naran River in Kyrgyzstan. Under this project, the participating countries plan to establish a joint stock company with Kyrgyzstan holding 34% of shares and Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan each holding 33%. These enterprises not only strengthening economic ties, but also contributes to a more integrated regional strategy. If this project was successful, it could set a standard for future cooperation in Central Asia. Bilateral initiatives. Tajikistan and Uzbekistan are modernizing hydrometric monitoring stations along their border to improve water flow measurement. Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan have signed an agreement on the management, protection, and rational use of water resource from the Darya River. And creation of a water and energy consortium. The issue of water resource utilization was also discussed in a five-sided format at the consultative meeting of the region's heads of state in 2023. In 2023, our president, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, proposed the creation of a water energy consortium to address the Aral Sea's ecological issues. Supported by the Eurasian Development Bank, this initiative have the potential to provide regional solutions to complex water and energy problems. According to analysts, the urgent creation of a consortium is mandatory since by 2028 there may be a chronic shortage of water due to climate change and growing demand. From the above, it can be concluded that the challenges of regional cooperation in Central Asia require collective efforts. Effective utilization of shared water in energy resources and overcoming the current crisis necessitate deepening regional cooperation, political compromise, and alignment of economic interests. Achieving sustainable solution in this area requires comprehensive reforms and active multilateral engagement. It is crucial to continue developing legally binding agreements and collaboration to enhance the distribution and utilization of water resources in the region. Future water cooperation in Central Asia must consider climate change and the role of Afghanistan, which is currently absent from exciting agreements on joint water use. Establishing a water energy consortium and investing in the construction and modernization of hydraulic structures could be an important step in addressing the complex water and energy challenges in the region. Moreover, it is essential to promote harmonious regional cooperation at both the political levels among civil society institutions, business and entities, universities, and educational centers. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Baikushikova. So let's turn now to our third speaker, Dr. Elira Turdubayeva, Dr. Turdubayeva holds a PhD in Media and Communication from Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan University. She has held roles at several universities, including as the former department head of journalism and mass communication at the American University of Central Asia. Dr. Turdubayeva is a founder of the Online University in Kyrgyzstan and the Association of Communicators of Kyrgyzstan. Her research covers media and artificial intelligence in education, political participation and media, social media and protest, network analysis, gender representation, media and activism surveillance, hate speech and conflicts in Central Asia. And she's also a Fulbright scholar at the University of Miami School of Communication, and she conducts many research on a lot of research on social media's role in civic engagement in Central Asia. So, Dr. Turdubayeva, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Yes, I'm sharing. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm sharing my screen now, entire screen. Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry,
No.
my presentation. Yeah. Can you see my PowerPoint presentation?
Yes, we can. If you could put it on the slide mode, that would probably be better.
Yeah. F5. I put F5 or slide.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah.
Now,
thank you.
You can see it, yeah, my presentation.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for organizing this important panel. Thank you, Sebastian. Thank you, Saltanat, and for inviting me also on board. I'm really happy to share some of my slides here. So my topic is on the bridging the waters, opportunities for regional cooperation in Central Asia. So now what's happening in Central Asia is a water war. The water wars are already happening, like conflict, yeah. We've seen it with Kempirabat, which was like, which Kyrgyz government and between Uzbek and Kyrgyz government, how they dealt with Kempirabat reservoir, water reservoir in Osh. It's in my hometown, Kurshab, the water reservoir in Uzgen region. So on the border with Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan, which is strategically important for the whole southern region in Kyrgyzstan, where the Osh Oblast is located on Fergana Valley and near Andijan Valley. So this Kempirabat is a really strategically important water reservoir, and so many rivers feed it from Karakulja, from Uzgen, from rivers like coming down downstream from mountain glaciers from the mountains and on the border with China, also from Karakulja. So this is a very important reservoir for cotton fields, also in Fergana Valley and Andijan Valley, and Uzbekistan also uses it for that irrigation. And now Uzbekistan is building huge resort, like a resort like hotels, like big 5-star hotels to attract tourists, and boating and all other aqua, etc. to attract tourists to this place. So the water wars in Central Asia already started, and if we look at historical context, like Regarding Kempirabat, I will come back also. The emerging potential for water-related conflicts, like they are already emerging and primarily driven by resource scarcity, especially between Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, between Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan, and Kazakhstan, also Kyrgyzstan. So in Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan, we have Chu River, Chu Canal near Kordai, and like Kaskeling and Kordai are like also using the water downstreaming from Kyrgyzstan, from the river, and Alarcha and others. And in Tajikistan, mostly Batken. In water management, like resource management in Batken, like we have a Batken conflict in last year, and every year we have a conflict where people die, where military also is involved in attacks from both sides, and that's all because of water wars. Like historically, they cannot share this water for irrigation, for agriculture and other resources which are scarce in Batken region, especially water. And rooted in complex transboundary water management, so which is like between the Central Asian countries, which cause so many conflicts, which have more consequences on social, political, and economic level. So what are the drivers of conflict? So upstream and downstream tensions, like Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan hydropower generation with in Toktogul gas on an Naren River in Kyrgyzstan, and in Rogun in Tajikistan, like Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, also agricultural irrigation with also sharing Aral Sea and competing national water usage priorities because population is growing, like now in Uzbekistan more than 33 million, and in Kazakhstan about 20 million, and 7 million Kyrgyzstan, and about 11 million Tajikistan. So population is growing, demand is growing, agricultural usage is growing. So people like this, the already scarce resources like water is becoming a real value and a reason, primary driver of conflicts in Central Asia. So climate change impacts glacier melt, reducing water resources with the 2 Celsius increase in temperature. Now we don't have such winters last 10 years even in Central Asia and Kyrgyzstan. We don't have much snow, and the level of glaciers are melting, and that's why like the rivers like upstreaming from downstreaming from glaciers are also becoming an issue. And increasing agricultural water demand, as I mentioned, unpredictable seasonal water availability. Last year we had a conflict with Kazakh farmers, agricultural farmers between Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan, Chuy region, Kemin, where they couldn't share this, like because of water irrigation. Kyrgyz government gave all water, all river to Kazakh farmers, and Kyrgyz farmers' crop was in crisis. They couldn't get as much crop as they were expecting, and there were also protests. So we have always these Kyrgyz-Kazakh border tensions with water usage. And potential conflict scenarios in future, like it can be like unilateral dam construction, water infrastructure weaponization, reduced agricultural productivity, economic destabilization, and potential military confrontations, especially on border regions with Tajikistan and Uzbekistan. So risk assessment and mitigation strategies. So high probability of tensions, low probability of direct military conflict, because we already had military conflict with Tajikistan, and most likely diplomatic friction and economic pressure, like Kazakhstan closing its border because all farmers in Kyrgyzstan export their crops to Russian market, to bigger Eurasian markets through Kazakhstan, and Kazakhstan is always closing its border, and this diplomatic friction and economic pressure from Kazakh side to Kyrgyzstan and maybe probably to Uzbekistan. So mitigation strategies are multilateral water management agreements, transparent resource allocation mechanisms, joint infrastructure investment, technology-enabled monitoring systems, and diplomatic confidence building measures. So what are the critical factors? Like political will for cooperation. All these governments are authoritarian regimes. And so this like attention for who is big brother or who is most influential in Central Asia. Before it was like between Karimov and Nazarbayev. Now with current presidents, like also this political will and will for cooperation is also varying, especially now, and technological innovation, economic interdependence, and international mediation support from big powers like maybe Russia or EU or US or China. So fundamental challenge is transforming water from a potential conflict source to a cooperative mechanism for regional stability, which is like very difficult to achieve. And yeah, existing issues and challenges in cooperation. We have this historical and political challenge, the legacy of Soviet fragmentation, artificially created borders by Stalin, disrupting natural resource flows, being interdependent, and inherited infrastructure designed for centralized Soviet management, persistent mutual mistrust from post-Soviet separation, and unresolved territorial disputes and border demarcation and delimitation conflicts between enclaves in Batken and between Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan. So political sovereignty concerns, deep-rooted nationalism in each Central Asian state, competing geopolitical alignments. So these are existing challenges. And what are the water resource specific challenges in this region? The structural hydropolitical tensions in Central Asian countries, fundamental upstream and downstream resource allocation conflicts, Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan upstream prioritizing hydroelectric generation with hydroelectric stations like Rogun and Toktogul, and Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Turkmenistan downstream demanding water access and misaligned national economic interests around water usage. So infrastructure deterioration, aging Soviet-era water management infrastructure, which wasn't maintained since the collapse of the Soviet Union. Now we have a huge project by USAID and ABR, Asian Development Bank in Kyrgyzstan. It's a long-term project where they are maintaining all these water pipes and water irrigation systems and canals in southern Kyrgyzstan. They have a pilot region in Batken, Isfana, Isfara, and also in Leylek and in Osh, Jalalabad. So they are doing maintenance. Since Soviet Union, no one did it. Kyrgyz government didn't do it. So they're now doing it. And so this aging infrastructure, also with this irrigation system, where they also causes the deterioration of the soil, where they don't use these pipes for irrigation, but regular arcs, we call them arcs for irrigation, and where 70% of water goes down to the soil and makes the soil not easy to use with salts and minerals, and lack of coordinated maintenance investments. So inefficient irrigation systems and high water transmission losses estimated up to 40%. And as was mentioned by previous speaker, climate change compounding challenge. They are rapidly melting glaciers in mountain regions. According to latest research, glaciers in Kyrgyzstan are melting so intensively, almost during last 5 years, all rivers in Alarcha and in Akbura, we had flood in Osh, in Akbura, where they haven't seen flood for the last like 100 years. So it was the major flood in Akbura River, where all Osh Bazaar, Jaima Bazaar, ancient bazaar from Silk Road was totally flooded, and now they're moving it to outside of Osh, like outside of city. So this is all because of glacier melting and high temperature and rapidly melting. And increasing frequency of extreme weather events like floods, mountain slides, and projected 15% reduction in water resources by 2050, according to latest research, and unpredictable seasonal water availability. And hydropolitical landscape, like detailed, if you see it, upstream and downstream conflict dynamics, upstream countries like Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan, where we have high mountains and glaciers and rivers, so mountainous terrain with significant hydroelectric potential, limited agricultural land, especially in Tajikistan, especially in Gorno-Badakhshan autonomous region, a huge land scarcity with rocks and less farming places and available lots for farming, and limited and energy security priorities, high dependence on hydropower generation, and we don't have atomic electric stations. And that's why in Kyrgyzstan especially, we have in Tajikistan also limited electricity power, and we have verные отключения. The government is cutting electricity every day, especially in winter when the level of water in Toktogul Lake and Karakoil Lake and Toktogul hydroelectric station is going down. So this also lack of atom energy stations, and Russia was going, Rosatom was going to build an atomic electric station in Kyrgyzstan, and then they did an investigation, and then they stopped building it because of this infrastructure land. The characteristic of land in Kyrgyzstan is not possible to build atomic electric station, but it's their discourse of Rosatom, but still people, we were all protesting against this, because if Rosatom builds atomic electric station, they will have a power to do whatever they want with this atomic station, like threatening, like in Ukraine and etc. Yeah, so it's a huge political issue. And in Uzbekistan, I think Rosatom is building, in the border with Kazakhstan, an atomic electric station. I think they already started. And downstream countries like Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Turkmenistan, extensive agricultural economics, large irrigation-dependent farming systems, limited water storage capabilities, and vulnerability to seasonal water fluctuations. Existing water allocation challenge. So we have always seasonal water release conflicts, especially in spring when the irrigation starts and farmers start irrigating in summer in the Fergana Valley, and also in Chui Valley, and then consistent compensation mechanisms and unilateral infrastructural development. And technical water management challenges, we have like infrastructural constraints, barriers. About 70% of Soviet era irrigation infrastructure deteriorated, high water transmission losses, when they do irrigation, and outdated measurement and monitoring systems. We don't have all this software, high technology, especially now we have AI technology to for water for monitoring and measuring the systems, but we don't have it, and some projects are bringing them, but they cannot scale it to whole Central Asia or whole country, and limited maintenance capabilities and hydrological characteristics, like two primary river systems, Darya River Basin and Darya River Basin, and annual water availability approximately 120 cubic kilometers, but it will reduce by 2050 up to 25% because of climate change. And what are the resolution strategies? These are first institutional transformation, regional water governance framework. All these countries need to establish Central Asian Water Cooperation Council, develop legally binding transboundary water management treaty, create transparent water allocation mechanisms, and implement mandatory dispute resolution protocols. The key institutional design principles are rotating leadership, which is difficult to do, and consensus-based decision-making also, which is difficult to participate in decision-making, and independent technical assessment capabilities and binding arbitration mechanisms. So these are my resolution strategies for bridging Central Asian waters. Yeah, thank you very much. If you have questions, I'm ready to answer.
Thank you so much, Dr. Turdubayeva. So we had three really excellent, very insightful presentations, which really highlight the magnitude of water-related challenges. So we have many questions and only 20 minutes, less than 20 minutes left. So let me maybe ask the first one. So you mentioned really a lot of issues, water issues that Central Asia is facing. One question you did not mention is the situation of the Caspian Sea. I mean, there are some big concerns. The level of the Caspian Sea seems to be decreasing dangerously to the point that, according to some scorers, by the end of the century, if it goes on like that, this sea will have lost the size of equivalent to the size of a country like Portugal. So does any one of you could elaborate on what are the reasons? What would be the impact if the situation goes on like that, if the situation goes on deteriorating? And are there any measures now emerging or being implemented to try to slow down this process? Anyone wants to answer? Dr. Bakushikova, Dr. Turaiva, Dr. Turdubayeva, any information on that?
If I give answer for first question, I think in Uzbekistan, drip irrigation is not always applicable because we have various landscape and is not perhaps some other methods of saving water, for example, implementation of renewable green economy in irrigating lands. And I think one cause of the problem water governance is inefficient irrigation system, and we need big investment for this. This is crucial issues for Uzbekistan, and it's very expensive to implementation of drip irrigation, and many farmers now use drip irrigation successfully, and I think step by step we changed our irrigation systems in Uzbekistan.
Okay, so no, that was not the, I mean, thank you for responding to this question. That was another question, but thank you, Dr. Turaiva. So, I mean, if you can't answer the question on the Caspian Sea, no worries, we can skip it. But the question you answered here was to what extent,
Sorry.
No problem. The question was, to what extent do you think technological innovations such as drip irrigation or advanced water monitoring system could address water scarcity in the region? In any case, no problem. So let's move maybe to another question, which is related to water issues between Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. What works are currently underway in the region of Darya, particularly in the border areas with Kazakhstan? Last year, for example, there were issues with water flow in Kazakh territories. And another question still related to water issues between Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. How have the planting schedules and water usage regulations been coordinated between the two countries? Who wants to answer that? Anyone? Okay, should I go to the Elira? No?
Yes, it's between Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan. So maybe our participants from Kazakhstan can answer this question. But yes, these floods in Western Kazakhstan last year, it was dramatic. Kazakhstan wasn't prepared how to deal to this natural disaster, how to manage this crisis environmental. So between Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan, I don't have much up-to-date information about this, how they're dealing with this water resources management. But I think that Kazakh Surya, Turayeva and others can answer regarding this. I can answer about Kyrgyzstan more.
No worries. Dr. Turayeva, do you want to say anything? Or go ahead, Dr. Baykushikova. Yeah.
No, Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan cooperate through bilateral regional agreements and also in the framework of inter-state commission of for water coordination in Central Asia. And they focus on managing shared rivers such as at the Sirdarya. Yes, I know the big problem is irrigation systems in Kazakhstan and in Uzbekistan. Also, the situation with irrigation system is it's a the situation, worse situation, and usually Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan cooperates through the bilateral agreements and with the commission, interstate commission for water coordination for Central Asia.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. We have some questions on the role of Afghanistan here. And Dr. Baykushikova, for example, mentioned that we must include Afghanistan in the agreement. So the question is, how are the Central Asian countries planning to achieve that? How do you see it unfolding? And another participant asked that indeed, I mean, to save the Aral Sea, feed rivers have to be saved, and to save these rivers. So, and Afghanistan, to save these rivers, Afghanistan has to be brought to the table. So how can this Central Asia +1 be achieved? So how can we bring Afghanistan to the table? How can Central Asian countries work with Afghanistan?
Yes, a situation or a construction canal in Afghanistan, Koshtope Canal. For a long time, Afghanistan was excluded from the discussion of water issues. The Central Asia countries held talks on water and energy issues in a 5-partly format. This approach was based on the assessment that Afghanistan immersed in internal problems, receiving external financial assistance, and depending on drug production. Afghanistan did not need additional volumes of water resources. In recent years, the situation has changed, and Afghanistan no longer wants to put up with the fact that most of the water flows to neighboring countries, and Afghanistan started construction of Koshtepe Canal, and Koshtepe Canal construction project is aimed at solving this problem, and but Afghanistan is not limited to the construction of this canal. Plans for the construction of the other Dashti-Jan hydroelectric complex also are being discussed, and Central Asian countries when discuss the problem of water cooperation, it's mandatory to also discuss with Afghanistan, because it's now it's big challenges to the Central Asian countries.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
Could
do you
I-
want to? Yeah, of course. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, I want tell about Afghanistan. Remember, in 1992, water agreement was it was a very significant document on water allocation, and this I remember Almaty agreement, and the current established practice of water resource allocation in Darya doesn't include Afghanistan, but Afghanistan doesn't include and didn't sign, and this is very relevant situation for Uzbekistan. Because Uzbekistan consumes Amudarya river water, and Uzbekistan is main of exporter of vegetable and fruit for neighbor countries, and Uzbekistan needs more water for this, and secondly, climate change reduced water availability, maybe 20% in the Amudarya basin. It is very difficult for Uzbekistan, and I think we could solve this situation maybe through indirect investment assistance. For example, the construction of residential buildings or assistance in agriculture in Afghanistan from Uzbekistan, maybe. But I think we must to find solving for this difficult situation. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you very much. We only have, 4 minutes. another question is, it's of course critical for all countries in the region to manage water effectively as a limited resource. The experience from Eastern and Central Europe shows that this often does not happen until water is priced, even if only minimally. Are there any plans in the regions to introduce water pricing to encourage small but some very important investments such as drip irrigation? Anyone can answer that?
Yes, I already said about drip irrigation is very expensive. Yes, we need a big investment for implementation drip irrigation. Yes.
Okay. And another question on regional institutions. So Central Asian countries have a long list of regional institutions. What is the feasibility in creating new institutions if we are already lacking collaboration in existing institutions? Anyone?
Yeah, I can answer. Yeah, as I mentioned in my presentation, existing institutions, they are not effective in water, shared water management and water resources. So we need to maybe upgrade or update, or maybe we need to build new like council or a coordination center like for this, but it's very difficult because given all national interests of each country and how they will work, how it will function with this Eurasian Economic Union. We have, but there we don't have all Central Asian countries, Uzbekistan and Tajikistan. So based on some treaties and legal like documents on Eurasian Economic Union, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan are managing somehow logistics and resource management and sharing. But these two countries are left out, but still this is all mostly Russian dominated union. So that's why we need our own Central Asian Union for natural resource management, not only water, but also other to solve cross-border issues on border issues. So current ones, they are not effective at all. Thank you.
Thank you. So maybe one last question in a way to conclude. Are there any success stories or best practices from other regions of the world that Central Asia could learn from to improve its water management strategies? And also, I mean, I want to give the three of you a chance, I mean, to add anything just to conclude. So let's start maybe with, let's go in the order. So with Dr. Turaiva.
Sorry, please repeat question.
So the question is, are there any success stories from or best practices from other regions of the world that Central Asia could learn from to improve its water management strategies? And also, I was saying that I wanted to give each of you a chance to add any concluding remarks if you wish. So.
Yes, we need to learn experience and positive experience to improving water management in our country. And for example, I want to say about in our university next academic year, we are planning to start a course in the master degree program as academic mobility together with the Irrigation Institute. And half of credit students will receive for the course Water Governance in Irrigation Institute, and other credits students will receive for the course Water Diplomacy in our university. It is, I think, is very good experience in studying of water diplomacy and water governance using experience of other countries.
Thank you. Dr. Baikushikova?
Yeah. I would like to say that there are some success experience. For example, European Union. European Union has several success example for water management that Central Asian countries could inspire. One key example of maybe it's European Union Water Initiative, which fosters cooperation between European and neighboring countries to promote sustainable water use, improve water quality, and strengthening governance. The experience of European Union, I think it's a good experience for Central Asian countries.
Thank you. Dr. Tordubayeva?
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, there are so many countries in the world from which Central Asian countries can learn. For example, Israel. Israel has drip irrigation technologies, water recycling, and like 85% of agricultural water reuse. So we can learn a lot in terms of high technology, using high technology in water management. And also Netherlands. Netherlands has also advanced flood management system. It has also complex water infrastructure engineering and climate adaptation strategies. Also, we can learn from Asian countries. Singapore is a very good success story. They have a comprehensive water conservation, advanced water recycling technology, urban water management, high efficiency desalination processes. So we also learn from these desalination processes from Singapore, and Australia also has amazing like success stories from which we can learn. Spain in Europe, yeah. So we can learn from them like how to use technology, like technology transfer. We can learn from them in terms of policy frameworks, in terms of conservation techniques and climate adaptation strategies. And for my concluding remarks, I would like to conclude, like as you asked, yeah, for my topic is we need in Central Asia a transformative vision, I think, because all these previous efforts were not successful, are less successful. So we need to transform a transformative vision for future. For these core transformative principles can be water as collaborative infrastructure. So shift from resource competition to shared management. So we shouldn't compete with each other for resources, but share how to learn how to share all these resources. And also recognize that water as a strategic national asset, as you have said, to give it a value, a price, as a national asset, to treat water. And also develop integrated and mutually beneficial approaches. And the second is technological innovation, as I mentioned, like embracing cutting edge technology, even AI technologies, to create regional innovative ecosystems and leverage digital monitoring and predictive systems, because with monitoring and measurement and predictive systems, we can use water more effectively. And the last one is diplomatic reimagination, because our diplomats aren't successful in negotiating these water resources. So we need to reimagine our diplomatic skills, moving beyond historical divisions, which were created by colonists, by Russian colonial thinking, and develop flexible adaptive cooperation mechanisms and prioritize long-term regional stability. Because water is a stability. I mean, all future wars will be around water. So like in Kempirabat also, I forgot to tell, like 17 activists who were protesting against this, they are still in jail. Some of them are released, but still in jail. So I think that we need this diplomatic reimagination in this. Yeah, thank you very much.
No, thank you all. Unfortunately, we really need to wrap up now. I mean, it is clearly a topic that is worth many seminars. I mean, it has already inspired, countless articles and books, and we are for sure continue to do so. So I really want to thank our speakers for their very insightful presentation and the many important points they raised. I would also like to extend my gratitude once again to Ambassador Ashikbayev, who, despite his very busy schedule, made time to join us today. And my sincere thanks also go to Mrs. Saltanat Jakubayeva and Ms. Altingul Utebayeva, without whom this seminar would not have been possible today. And of course, thank you to the audience for being with us today and for your valuable contribution to the discussion. So we look forward to having you again to our Central Asia Program seminars. Have a good day and see you very soon. Goodbye.
Thank you.